Hello and welcome to this transit report. My first here on YouTube. I have been doing the Facebook thing, seeing how that would go for me. And, well, it's okay. I get a bit of feedback on these transit reports. I find them to be very, very helpful knowledge. I'm going to share it here because this is not really Scrollville on YouTube. So, let's lay down the groundwork here, the framework of what's going on. I shared the transits according to the Human Design knowledge. Okay, the Human Design knowledge gives us an indication of the placement of planets and the energy that they bring according to their movement through the body graph and the hexagrams of the I Ching. The hexagrams of the I Ching, of the Rave I Ching, that Ra Uru Hu rewrote from the I Ching, really give us a human psychological understanding of the genetic expression of the genetic expression. I mean, how do you take a gene and explain what it does? Well, you need to kind of put it into human terms, and that was done. The Chinese did that through the I Ching, and Ra Uru Hu did a beautiful job, an amazing job of adapting that knowledge to the nine-centered being. We are nine-centered beings, I kind of harp on in a few of the other previous videos that I've had. Now, it's been a long time since I've been on YouTube. I've really been kind of doing my projector thing and studying really hard so that I know in my design I will attempt to give knowledge without depth. It's in my design to do so. Nothing I can do about that. But in knowing that that is there, I could be mindful of it. And so I guess I've been giving myself a little bit more time to be able to lay down some foundations with these transit reports. Now this week, we're already in the day 4, okay? Each week, Rave Week, has 6 days in it. We are at day 4 of the Gate 59, where the sun sits. The transit is in Gate 59. It is for 6 days, has been for 4. And this is the Gate of Sexuality. And then we have the Gate 55, where the Earth is. This is the Gate of Spirit. Okay, so this is when we look at it, we have the energy, the energy of sexuality, coupled with the spirit, the energy of spirit. When we sit with what that means for us, it's spiritual sexuality, really, isn't it? It is the understanding. But what do we mean by spirit? Well, when we look at the Gate 55, it is called the Gate of Abundance. Isn't that interesting? It says in the Gate 55, abundance is strictly a question of spirit. I mean, let that land for a moment. We, as a being that is continuously evolving through movements and changes and pulses and mutations, we find ourselves moving through a series of steps that are evolutionary in their nature. We are evolutionary beings, and the evolution takes place step by step by step, and then every once in a while there is a change in energy or background frequency, or definitely background frequency, but there are shifts and changes that are still unique to the individual as well. Everyone's going to experience the changes and the shifts individually, uniquely. This is the whole point of human design. And as we look at the transit, we have here, we can see the sun is in 59, which is the Gate of Sexuality. This is dispersion. This is about the ability to break down barriers to achieve union. That's what the Gate of Sexuality is all about, breaking down barriers. It's not just about sex. That is what the sexual energy does. It breaks down barriers. We see it evident in the physical nature of sex. It breaks down barriers. There are beings climbing inside of other beings, all of that. There is the friction, the rubbing up against of, which is the Gate 6 that sits in the emotional center. Now, this Gate 6 that sits in the emotional center is what reaches over to the 59. Okay, so we can see that the friction is emotional friction. And so I have the 6 at the moment. And I was talking about this in my transit on Facebook, but as I said, I'm going to be shifting these over here. For me, I have the 6. And so what do you think? I have the 6 in an undefined solar plexus, undefined emotional center. I have the 6th gate. And it is the driving force behind the emotional wave. It is and yet for me, it's inconsistent because I don't have the solar plexus defined. I'm a non-emotional type. But when I experience emotion, it will be through friction. And that gate is hanging. It's hanging. It's not a channel. It's not met together with the 59 that comes from the sacral center, the gate of sexuality. You see, sexuality, the sexual energy plus friction is where we get babies from. That is the love making. And if we look at that as the sun energy, so for me, what I'm experiencing is a balancing. Because I have the 6, friction. What do you think the 6 wants? The 6 wants what it doesn't have, which is the 59. The 59, the gate of sexuality. And that is defined at the moment through the transit. So what I'm experiencing is that does not feel missing for me right now. So I could have gone my whole life saying to myself, I've got this really incredible, I have a strong sex drive. It's not so much that, in as much as there's some not self-theme, but also just nothing I can do about it as part of my design. If I fixate on it, if I let it become a problem, well, it's a not self-theme. But the thing is that I have a hanging gate. It is the 6, and it's reaching out for the gate of sexuality. If you have the gate 6 in your design, you'll see there can be this really quite strong, or not, need for sex. It can really be there. People that have the 6, the friction, they can fall into all sorts of issues, substances, or that, that drive of excitement. It's friction, okay? But the 59 is where the sun is today. And it's in the line 4, which is brotherhood and sisterhood. The energy today is about brotherhood and sisterhood. Sexual energy is not just about, and it isn't always, when you decide you're going to do a podcast, someone's going to start banging nails. I'll have to see if this is noisy afterwards. This brotherhood and sisterhood, the dropping of barriers to union to establish a universal union. Okay? The dropping of barriers to union to establish a universal union. This is that the universal union is all of our need for connection. Okay? Brotherhood and sisterhood. Even with your wife or your husband, there can be brotherhood and sisterhood there. It is a different kind of union. It is a union that passes knowledge. As we talk about, as the Bible talks about, that Adam knew Eve and all of that sort of stuff. When we know someone, that's the sexual act. We see that in the scriptures as pointing towards the sexual act. Well, this is union beyond knowing. It is universal. It is that accepting of the other as an equal to yourself, not one to try and propagate new humans or to continue on the race. There is another whole element here, and that is held in the 4th line. Sorry about the banging. Of course, I haven't done a video in a long time, but I'm not going to stop because I'm splenic, and that's just not what's going to happen. This is going to be transmitted no matter what. Let's look at the gate 55. The gate 55 sits in the emotional center. This is the gate of spirit, the gate of abundance. Abundance is strictly a question of spirit. It's strictly a question of spirit. I mean, we don't really fathom that. And in the change that's coming in 2027, this is where the mutation takes place. I don't think it's any sort of coincidence the way things are, right now I'm looking it up, it just feels like such a beautiful headward slide into the 2027 shift that will take place in the month of February. The shift that will take place in the background frequency, the rise of the sleeping phoenix. The sleeping phoenix is on the rise. We can feel it already. This moving from a tribal first line theme, tribal being, we're all about the community, all about everyone adding their bit in, trying to do their best, paying your taxes and all that, and building the infrastructures and on and on and on, the planning, 400 years of that. changed through a mutation as well in the solar plexus that happens at the turn of this background frequency, the rise of the sleeping phoenix. The sleeping phoenix does not have that tribal circuitry. It is not a tribal cross. It's not a tribal cross. And the effects of this new background frequency is very strong on the Gate 55, the Gate of Spirit. Abundance is strictly a question of spirit. It is where the emotional center has its wave, but the wave is going to go away. So this is talking about what this center is really all about. The emotional center is all about the abundance of experiencing life through the wave, the depth of that, the beauty of that. We complain about something so beautiful and something that's going to go away. It's not going to be here forever. All the times that we've regretted the sadness, and yet it's all going to end. There will be no more sadness. Think of the rave babies that will be born without emotions. Without emotions. I just said that at 11:11. Think about what that means for us. Beings that are non-emotional but connected only to the right ones. Only to their type. Only to their species, I should say. For us, we have 4 different types. And then within that, we have different profiles. And then within that, we have different circuitry. And within that, we have, it goes on and on and on. The human race has never been so differentiated. Never been so differentiated. Ever. And this interregnum that we are, these Homo sapien intransitus that we are, is just a slither in time. We are but a slither, midwives of a new age. Midwives of a new age. I mean, let that land. This gate of abundance is in the 4th line today, assimilation. The establishment of a framework that balances principles with energy and leads inevitably to expansion and prosperity. The possible spirit that comes with emotional awareness and energy are balanced and principled. The possible spirit that comes when emotional awareness and energy are balanced and principled. There are principles in this life. My name, Saranta, means principles. Okay, so this is a beautiful line for me to be reading. I do like this. And it's a possibility. The spirit is a possibility that comes with the emotional awareness. The spirit is a possibility for all of us, emotional and non-emotional. For us that don't have the defined solar plexus, we're here to hold space and witness the emotional wave in the other. I mean, it doesn't have its fullness unless it's witnessed by the other. The one that has the emotional wave, you can't see the wood from the trees. You can't. They don't see what that means for them. Most of the time they don't see what it means for them unless they're being correct, and then they can see what it means for them. Because they have an emotional center. These emotional waves, they mean something to them. Someone trying to call me. They mean something to them. They're important. The emotional wave is important to the emotional type. Emotions are important to the non-emotional type, but in a different way. We're not here to know ourselves through the emotional wave. We're here to know the other through their emotional wave, because we take that in. And if you're a projector, you take it all the way in. If you are a generator, you really kind of soak that up. A bit different, right? Kind of soak it up a little bit. If you're a manifester, well, you're repelled by that. If you have an open solar plexus, repelled by the emotional wave. Unless, you're very, very correct and you're able to be a good witness of yourself and check that the anger doesn't come in when someone else's emotional wave is trying to condition you. So much going on. Now, if we look at the transits, because I will start making more clarity as the videos go on, we're going to do a weekly transit, and then I'll do the dailies on Facebook. So if we look at this assimilation You know, really, we can move into the human geometry now, because that's the whole point of what I'm doing this. The human design gives us the mechanics that are there. The human geometry gives us the code of conduct. And what we have here is the theme 59, of course. Theme 59 goes with gate 59. And this theme 59 is intimacy. You know, for this gate of sexuality, this gate of sexuality is bringing that energy of sexuality. We see it as a code of intimacy, closeness, which is the art of true connection. Okay, true connection happens in the aura. It just does. Okay, it doesn't happen without aura. I get it. You know, I mean, like, you can do Zoom calls, you can do what you're doing here, but we're not in aura, and that's just not the same. As they say, you have to be there. It's just the way it is. This closeness, the art of true connection, theme 59 embodies the power of breaking down walls and finding closeness through authenticity. It reminds us that real intimacy is not just about physical connection, but the meeting of hearts, minds, and spirits. It is the ability to stand open and unguarded, creating trust and resonance. This theme teaches that vulnerability is a bridge, not a weakness. By letting ourselves be seen, we invite others to go deeper, go into deeper connection, and create relationships that are strong, honest, and meaningful. At its highest, theme 59, that's what we're going, move through the week with the awareness that intimacy is the key this week. Intimacy. Who are you to be intimate with? Who do you have the perseverance to be intimate with? Perseverance was the hexagram that we moved from prior to moving into this one. That was the gate 29. At its highest, theme 59 is about unity without losing individuality. Okay, so this week, be on the lookout. Be on the awareness of maintaining your individuality and yet not being timid that you cannot go into those intimate places with the other. Because that's what it's all about this week. Excuse me. It celebrates the beauty of connection, where openness and trust become the foundation for mutual growth and understanding. So that is the code for Gate 59 this week. Really the key here, the key is keeping a check on your individuality and being open to these connections, because that is what is in the neutrino stream. People are going to be compelled, moved without knowing, through the energy that is there, through the neutrinos coming through of the placement of the sun, are going to have that drive. There's going to be more of that drive for intimacy. So, we don't need to push against the grain here. We work with it, but we allow it to work in our favour. Okay, so we know that this is, as I said, sexy week in my Facebook transit report today. This is sexy week. It's all about the sexual energy, but it's sexy spirit week. It's understanding there's another depth to the sexual energy that we are overlooking. We really are. Because the sexual energy is about the union. That's what it's about. Okay, we just don't do it well. We just don't. We get hang-ups about all sorts of things. We get hang-ups about sex. We get hang-ups about, using it as a manipulative tool. We get hang-ups because, they slept with them, and, jealousies and blah, blah. Oh my God, it gets ridiculous, right? Intimacy is the key in understanding that the beauty of connection, where openness and trust become the foundation for mutual growth and understanding. It's all about the growth in union. Doesn't mean we have to agree. The sexual energy is not just about sex. It's about union. And we call that yoga. Okay, that's what yoga means. If we look at the theme 55 for the gate 55, which is the gate of spirit, the theme 55 is freedom. Freedom. That's what spirit is all about. That's what the emotional wave is all about. You see, if you can learn to love the emotion without the story, let go of the story. Feel the purity of sadness and the depth of madness. All of it. We all experience emotions, but in different ways. There's different circuitries that carry different emotional waves. Tribal, individual, collective. The crash of the collective. The ratchet of the, you know those people that have that, they ratchet their emotional wave. They have that little thing, that little tiny thing, and it works on them. And then, there's an explosion. And those that just press it down and press it down and press it down, they crash the collective and the individual process, that spiky kind of wave that pulses different kinds of emotions. If you don't know yours, find your design. Find a reader. I'd say, find a certified reader. I wouldn't say find a certified reader, because I'm an anarchist. In my design, I'm an anarchist. I'm against the institutional order. Ra would celebrate that and say, good on you for living your design. That's why I'm not, part of any human design school. I'm an anarchist. It doesn't mean I can't learn it. I will learn it as an anarchist. I love my design. And anyway, at the school, that's what they would want me to do anyway. I know that. The theme 55 is freedom, abundance, living the spirit of emotion. Theme 55 captures the depth of emotional spirit, echoing Ra's teaching that true freedom is found through fully engaging with the emotional wave. Engaging with it. What a beautiful thing. It reflects the abundance of life that comes when we embrace our emotional nature, allowing its highs and lows to teach us presence, compassion, and connection. I mean, that's what spirit is all about. And we've missed so much of it, understanding that part of our spiritual process is the emotional wave. Oh, we've missed so much. What to do? This theme reminds us that emotions are not obstacles but guides, revealing the richness of our humanity. Freedom comes through surrendering to the full spectrum of feeling, accepting the lessons hidden within emotional intensity. We can get so taken by the intensity of emotions, but life is intensity when it's lived correctly, as Osho would say. Live with intensity, with awareness. Your eyes are a penetrating force. Wherever you look, you go deep. Even so much that in the rocks you feel flowers blossoming. Osho. This theme reminds us that emotions are not obstacles but guides, revealing the richness of our humanity. We've missed this bit. I have created modalities in which I've tried to help people release their emotions. And there is a time to do that if you're non-emotional. But if you're an emotional type, it's who you are. We really need to get a grasp of the mechanics of how this works, especially while the phoenix is rising. Because it is. And it will. And there's nothing we can do about it but enjoy the ride. At its highest, Theme 55 transforms turbulence into abundance. Who knew that? Your abundance is there in the emotional wave. And if you can embrace it, wow, that emotional wave, for those with it connected to the throat, think about that, the manifesting center. If you can understand that your emotional wave is a part of the spiritual abundance of what it means to be human. Human. We don't know what it means to be this human that we are. We just don't know. Some do. Some. But not all. By living authentically and living deeply, we inspire others to embrace their own emotional truth. And that's all you can do. This freedom that we're looking for and intimacy in this sexy week of the spirit. This is where it's at. This is the energy we're in. between of this week. I'm telling you this I'm in New Zealand, by the way. This is August 26th, halfway through, just over halfway through this week of sexuality and spirit, finding freedom and abundance through intimacy. What a beautiful week we have the potential to experience. And until next time, bye for now.